Hello everybody, I'm TJ the Brickwright and welcome to my Lego room. Now, a few of you may notice as the next few weeks progress that there's going to be a few changes in the Lego room, but don't worry, nothing huge is happening. I'm still going to stick around. We're still going to have a ton of fun and be doing some mocks, and I have a few interesting videos coming up. Some fun ideas that I thought I would try out for you guys and see what you thought. So today we're going to be going on a little journey in Lego spheres and all the different kinds of Lego spheres that there are. Well, maybe not all the different kinds, but all the ones that I explored while researching a particular project. So let's jump into it so I can finally take these things apart. I've had them for over a year. So many of you who follow my channel will recognize these guys. These are my BB tanks, or sometimes called my BB-8 tanks. And these particular tanks use the planet spheres that have been around for quite a while now. However, a lot of them are very expensive. Like the Death Star ones, I think go for about $10 a side sometimes, depending on which side you're looking for. But I was able to pick these up for not too bad. They're about $1 or $2 a piece, so I figured it was a good way to build these things with spheres. However, what I originally wanted to do was to build an omnidirectional sphere that would be able to go multiple directions, be able to slide it sideways, back and forth, go forward, back, just be able to turn in every single direction. In the end, I ended up having to settle for these spheres that just roll forwards and backwards, but then added the little ski speeder thing on the back so that you could bank it and turn it and things like that and give it a little bit of a feeling of omnidirectionality. So I started with this guy, right here. So this is probably the most simple sphere you can make, and it's actually pretty good. However, you can see that there is a little extra space on that one side. And that's because on the inside is actually what they call a Travis brick. So it's a 1x1 brick with studs on all sides and on top. And then, of course, it's got the regular anti-stud brick on the bottom. So what you do is you take these little flower pieces and they fit perfectly inside these little boat pieces, as you can see right here. And then if you twist that little boat piece, the flower actually twists with it, and it fits perfectly inside there. It's a crazy idea. I'd never seen this before, but I thought it was a neat idea, and unfortunately this couldn't scale up. This didn't really work for the purposes I wanted to. However, it did give me a little bit of practice on looking at pieces in a new way so that I could try and build something a little bit better and bigger later. So this bottom one just goes in just right into that anti-stud right there. Just pops right in there. And the really funny part is you actually have to be a little tricky with it, because these boat tiles have to be twisted into the right position so that they'll all go in together, because they do actually fit very tightly. Anyway, that's the small one. Not a huge deal. Then I started experimenting with some larger curves using SNOTting bricks. So if we take these off, you can kind of see that we just have some SNOTting bricks going different directions. Built, I don't think I actually built it around a core. I think all these pieces actually just sit together. However, they do tie together quite well. Yeah, see, no core inside. But I used these 1x2 bricks with 4 studs on the side. However, there's quite a bit of stress between the pieces when you butt them up like this. So you can see they're anti-stud versus anti-stud, and then using just the studs on the side to get them together. However, you can kind of see there's a little teeny crack right there. And that's because the tolerances are so tight between those pieces that they tend to put a little bit of stress on those. So not the best thing to do with your pieces, but this was an interesting way, I thought, of trying to get a sphere look. And in the end, it worked quite well. My only complaint with this one are these awkward corners that just have nothing inside them. However, this particular sphere rolls extremely well, and even though it can get stuck on different flat spots, it was a good practice and helped me develop. Then I saw somebody who did something like this and created a sphere using these giant 3x3 quarter round pieces, quarter spheres. Now, I could not tell how they actually put these things together, so I actually had to figure it out and make my own version. Each one of these is only held on by one stud, which is, oh, you can see it just kind of falls apart. So structurally, it's not a good one. But from the outside, it looks pretty nice. So you can see what I used is some pneumatic tees with 1x2 rounded plates with the holes in the middle, and then some 1x2 bricks with 2 studs on 2 different sides. And then used these arch pieces around them. So that actually worked pretty good. I was actually fairly happy with the shaping of it. Again, it's just not very structurally sound. So once again, I found a way to make a sphere that I could not use. Then we start getting into some much larger versions. So there's this one that I believe has an open core and then just uses SNOTting bricks all around the inside. Let's see if we can get a slightly better. That's okay. So this just uses SNOTting bricks going different directions. One of the hard things with this particular design is getting these plates back on. So if you watch, I may not be able to do that. So we put one on there, one on there, one on there, and yep, that one broke off. That last one broke off right there. One of the ways you can avoid having that happen is if you put everything else together first, and then when you put on your SNOTting bricks, you actually make sure that the SNOTting is on the side so that way when you push it on, it holds it just a little bit better. Of course, I probably just opened the wrong side for you guys, which is why that one was turned a different direction. But you can see that we ended up using 3x3 rounded tiles with a 6x6 round, not tiles, plates. 6x6 plate, 4x4 plate, and then a jumper plate to try to give us that little edge. This actually rolls quite well. See, another time. It'll jingle jangle the rest of the day if I don't fix it. Okay, there we go. Finally got it back together. It actually rolls quite well. And doesn't tend to get stuck in any particular position, but it does stop at different points. And it can stop on the corners, it can stop on the edge there. It just will never stop right in the middle because of that single stud, which is the reason I put that on there instead of doing like just a tile, 2x2 round tile. So still not perfect. I still don't love these blank corners that are here. Wish I could fill those in, maybe put a dish piece in there, but then you're getting a little too complicated, and I ended up not being able to use that either. Now, many of you who build Lego spheres may recognize this. This is called a Lowell sphere. It uses pieces going multiple different directions in order to make the sphere actually work. It has a very similar core to the one that I just showed you. However, it tends to be a little bit more structurally supportive because you are actually having these pieces going multiple directions. If you look, the angles right here are on this side, but these angles are on the other. So when you put these on, you'll just have, it'll be a little off shaped. It won't be a square or circular. It's actually going to be a little bit oval if you kind of squint your eyes and make it fuzzy. But you're going to have two sides that are a little bit longer and they overlap onto the other sides, which gives a very beautiful uniform look. And then it rolls. Now again, I got stuck on the fact that I was going to have to put a pin or a Technic axle through the middle, and it could only spin the one direction. And so my dream of an omnidirectional sphere were rapidly deteriorating and dying a slow and painful death. I ended up having extra slopes on here at one time, but as you can see, I have removed those. However, the technique and the principle of adding slopes to this Lowell sphere was sound and worked out quite well, actually. I just had to take them off because I used them for something else. And then we get to my final iteration of spheres, trying to make them brick built. and it is this guy right here. So this is the absolute smoothest that I could make any sphere of my own design. So you can see that I have used the Lowell sphere technique, but then done it completely out of angles and wedge bricks. So we have a lot of curved slopes going all over the place. We have 1x3 slopes here, 2x2 slopes here. We have those specialty 45-degree angle pieces right here. We just absolutely went nuts. Used some rounded tiles on the end just to give it a little bit of extra finished look. And then here is probably where the most innovation could have happened, but I'm not even sure that it's really that innovative. So we have our snotting bricks going in all the different directions. You can see I did have to use some different snotting bricks. I started running out of these 1x2 with 4 studs on the sides. Started to run really low, so I had to start using some 1x4 with 4 studs on the side. But in the end, it actually worked quite well. Crazy enough, this snotting brick and this snotting brick line up perfectly. And mathematically, it makes perfect sense. But it was just a pleasant surprise for me and was not intentional when I put it together. We still kind of have a dead space in that corner, which apparently is the hardest thing for me to figure out, and also something I should probably learn to just live with. Lego isn't designed to make perfect spheres unless you buy a piece that is a perfect sphere. Once I failed at this one, I ended up going to the planet spheres, which are the most perfect sphere that you can get in Lego, in my opinion. But they are amazing. Now, theoretically, if I wanted to, I could figure out a way to probably make this somewhat omnidirectional. The only problem is the studs on both ends. If they had ever made a version of this sphere with anti-studs on one side or the other, or both sides, that would have revolutionized this entire thing, and I would have been able to make an omnidirectional ball, because I would have been able to make a receiver that fits just on each side, and then as the ball spins while you move, it can spin in any direction you want, which means it would be able to go forward, but then like do a drift sideways kind of thing. In the end, I think it turned out pretty good. The ship that I ended up making on both of these in the end were perfectly acceptable, and I think they look pretty cool. They look really fun next to each other, and they can both be carried by my BAADA dropship. As a little side note, if anybody's interested, I have updated the instructions for my SLV1 battle tank, and it looks quite a bit better now. I was never really happy with those rounded pieces in the front, and so I ended up changing the front of it to be a little more angular, which I think looks way better and helps it not look so fat in the front, which the other one definitely did, since those curved slopes were 4 wide. And so it looked like the whole front was 4, whereas this slims it down and it gives it just the 2 wide front, which I think looks a lot better. Anyway, so that's what's going on. If you've already purchased instructions for the SLV1 tank, don't worry, you should get a notification that the instructions have changed and that the parts list has been updated as well. So once again, thank you for hanging out in my Lego room with me. I've been TJ the Brick Wright, and until I see you next time, play well. Bye.